The idea behind this build is to use a melee weapon and a shield, to attack with melee attacks and to also use some lightning strikes on the enemy. It is a simple build as we can see on the hotkey bar. It uses only 2 skills from Storm Mastery and the core skills with the primary attack skill being maxed out. So, here is the gameplay. You activate the Storm Nibe skill, which is like a constant buff that provides more damage to cold and lightning, and through its modifiers we get more effects to help against the enemies. Then we run around attacking with the primary attack and using the Call Lightning skill, which throws lightning bolts to the enemies. And we use the barrier skill whenever we feel like we need more survivability. It is a simple build, good for those who prefer having a few skills only to work with, but it is also powerful and super fun to play. The attribute points we use on this build are the agility and the vigor. The agility will allow us to equip items that have agility requirements, and it will also increase the stats of fitness and cunning. Vigor will increase the base health points and all secondary attributes of resolve, cunning and fitness. The most important stats from these attributes are the lightning damage buff from cunning and the cold damage buff from resolve. Core skills. On the barrier skill I spent only a single point and I activated the modifier fast barrier to reduce a little bit the cooldown of the skill. I didn't really want to build on the barrier as it wasn't my main goal to have to rely on this skill for survivability, so I had it at this level. It still helped a lot though, even in that state. On the primary attack skill I spent all 17 points and maxed it out. The modifiers I went with is the Indomitable. This one will give more survivability during combat and an effect which feels like damage reflection to the enemy, because when the enemy hits you, it receives some damage based on this one. So it also helps to kill enemies faster. Next modifier is of course the Lightning Strike maxed out. This will convert the primary attack's damage to lightning, and when you hit an enemy, there will be a chance that an extra lightning strike will hit it too. Very fun modifier to play with. Then we've got one level spent on Punish modifier. This is extra damage to these kinds of enemies, and it helps killing them faster. It's a good idea to focus on this kind of enemies first in the battlefield, because they can be deadly if you have them in the background attacking you, while you are attacking close combat enemies. And the Onslaught modifier. This is very powerful. Rage will increase your total damage and attack speed per stack of rage, and it is very helpful, especially if you use other skills that can utilize the rage you build up with this modifier. Call Lightning. I use the modifiers. Repetition. It reduces the damage of the strike, but it strikes 4 times instead of 1. So overall the skill now becomes very powerful. Thunderstorm. This is awesome for close combat, since it can trigger extra strikes and make the skill even more deadly and awesome. Rage gain. With this one we can stack more rage and increase this way the damage and speed of the build. Storm Enhancement modifier. For more damage output. Thunderstorm modifier. More damage for lightning strikes and a nice effect to deal even more damage with more lightning strikes. Frost armor modifier. This is like a damage retaliation effect that triggers passively, and it can be very useful when it freezes the enemy because it can make the battle easier for you. Passive skills. Arcane Influx. Pretty self-explanatory. Raging Mind. The spell rage this skill provides will stack up the rage stacks that come from other skills or weapon attacks with the rage that you could get from spells like Call Lightning with the rage gain modifier, for example. The moment you cast a spell while under the rage effect, your spell will get the buffs from this passive spell. So, if you have 10 rage stacks from weapon attacks, the spell will benefit from all 10 stacks, and the passive skill will give to your spell 10% total spell damage and 10% cast speed. It is 1% per stack. Storm Attunement. Storm Adaptation. For the barrier decay threshold of this passive, please check out the complete guide for the barrier skill. The link will be in the description of this video. Raging Storm. The rage effect will boost up the numbers of rage per stack. So, if you get 1% total spell damage per stack and 90% from this passive, now you get 1.9% total spell damage per stack. Items. In general, for this build, we need items that provide all kinds of resistances if possible, but the most important stats on items would be the plus free barrier, or at least energy barrier, but free barrier is better because it doesn't cost any energy. Energy points and regeneration, and buffs in the form of percentages to spell damage and lightning damage. Also, attack speed buffs would be totally awesome. The same can be said about movement speed too. For the weapon, we need the highest base stats of damage possible. It doesn't really matter what type of damage it will be because we convert the primary attack's damage to lightning. So, all base stats of damage on the weapon will be converted to lightning. But, for the added stats from affixes on the weapon, we would need, if possible, buffs to lightning damage, spell damage, attack speed, or even flat plus X amount of lightning weapon damage. Keep in mind that with this modifier of the primary attacks that converts damage to lightning, the flat weapon damage stats we might get from affixes on the weapon itself or even other items will not be converted to lightning. That was the build guide. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for watching and more is coming.